everybody. Welcome to Breaking the Rules. I'm Casey Dempster. I'm here with my co-host, Ray Lowe, and we have a fascinating guest, Dan Luber, that we're going to talk to in a few minutes. But I wanted to start out by saying that our show is about change and the transition that happens in order to affect the change. And a lot of people are very uncomfortable with change and they resist it, but we believe that if you feel that you're in control of what's happening, that the transition and the change is a little bit easier. And sometimes you have to do it your way. Just because things have always been done a certain way doesn't mean that you have to keep doing it that way. So that's why we talk about breaking the rules. And I'm going to my quote. Get ready, brace yourselves, it's a long one. The quote is, "I am free no matter what rules surround me. If I find them tolerable, I tolerate them. If I find them too obnoxious, I break them. I am free because I know that I alone am morally responsible for everything I do." And that quote's from Robert Heinlein, who is a famous science fiction writer. I think he wrote Stranger in a Strange Land, and he's very successful. And I think that the fact that he had this moral code for himself made it easy for him to be a science fiction writer, because he could create any world or any universe that he wanted in order to make a story work. So I think that this is something that we need to embrace ourselves.
This means it's my turn now, finally. Okay.
Yes.
You know, your quotes are getting longer and longer, but I really like this
There's
one.
a method to my madness.
All right, so we have with us Dan Luber. And Dan, I think, breaks a whole lot of cooking rules, but he cooks really good. Okay,
Yeah.
And he steals recipes from his wife, which makes him
I've
a
heard.
very, very bright man. Okay, so I met Dan at a local tavern near me, and it's a really needed place because finding good places to eat in Swedesboro are few and far between. So Dan, thanks for being here this morning, and tell us a little bit about how you got into the cooking business to begin with.
Sure. Well, it's been, I'd say roughly 12 to 15 years probably I've been in the industry. I started off working at my mom's diner as a busboy when I was, I guess, a little underage for working, but you know, it was back then, so it's a little different.
It's family.
Yeah, it's family. So, you know, I've always been in the food industry. You know, my first real job was at Salad Works in right up the street. So it kind of just progressed from there as I went along. And then I just fell in love with it. And it's I don't want to say it's all I've done, but I've been doing it for a long time. I'm fairly young for 15 years in the business, but you know, I've enjoyed every minute of it. So
Now, you told us though that you went to college first. Was it to pursue culinary arts at that point, or something else?
it was the original plan was to play soccer and then from there get my business degree.
Okay.
And then after the business degree, I was going to go to culinary school to get my culinary arts degree.
Okay.
Could no longer play soccer, so things kind of changed. And then I decided just to skip that and go right into the culinary arts world. And so I did 2 years at a college, and I did another 2 years at the Art Institute of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So
I like that word, change. You know, things can change because
Things
you
can
can play
change.
soccer.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, you can't control the change,
Yep.
so or
Yeah.
the event.
Yeah.
So
It happens so often, and it gives you a chance to unleash your passion.
right.
You know, after, I mean, I got limited exposure to who you are, but I can't see you as a business person per se.
No.
I think you were born to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Well, but the advantage is that having a business degree, it gives you the background to be an owner.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
you know, because sometimes people are really good at what they do, but they don't know how to own and run a business.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your philosophy in the kitchen at the Center Square Tavern.
Well, you know, I guess one of the things is if it's not right, it doesn't go out. You know, so we do things a little bit different there. We make everything from scratch in-house, starting with dressings, desserts. I break down whole fish, salmons, whether or not be a halibut for a whole fish. You know, we do everything in the building. Nothing comes in a box prepared, ready to go. Something is changed or you know, or deceived a little bit differently than the way it comes in the building. You know, so we try to be as fresh as we can. I do not have a walk-in freezer. We actually just have like a little chest box but that's about it. Where most restaurants have a full walk-in freezer where they store French fries and chips and you name it, it's in there. Desserts. We cut all of our own French fries in house. We cut all of our own chips in house. I have a wonderful, wonderful dessert lady. I guess I can't even call her. She's a pastry chef. Who she makes all of our desserts.
And they're very good, I can say.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to have somebody there who, because I like to be outside the box on desserts. I like to go a little bit, above the normal, and to have her take my ideas and then transition them into something so perfect and great is really nice to have.
And tasty.
And tasty. Oh yeah, they're tasty for sure.
Yeah.
So, it's just really nice to have a good surrounding crew who love what they do as well. So.
Now you're down Center Square Tavern, Swedesboro, New Jersey, down in farm country.
I think it's technically Woolwich. Woolwich is
I do try to correct him about that, but he
term of it,
insists on saying Swedesboro, so I just let it go.
Okay.
I like Swedesboro better than Woolwich. It's got character. And the King of Sweden was there once upon a time, right?
But Center Square Road is right at exit 10 off 295.
Yes.
295.
South,
So you just start going east on
Make
Center
a left,
Square.
Make a left right on Center Square Road, and we're about, I think, a mile and a half up the road on the right. There's not much down there to eat. There's only, I think, one corporate restaurant in the area, and that's Applebee's. And the rest are all family-owned, really much mom and pop shops. So.
Which oftentimes are better.
Yeah, they are.
Always better.
They are.
So let's talk a little bit about the freshness aspect of what you do, because without a freezer, first of all, that's great news for those of us who eat there, because everything's fresh.
Everything's fresh.
And you're in farm country, and a lot of times your menu changes a little bit based on the veggies you can get and stuff like that. So what's the process? What happens?
Yeah, so we try to change our menu 4 times a year, which is about every 3 months. I do 2 major changes, one being in the fall, one being in the fall and spring are our two major changes of the menu. And the spring menu is really where we get to have a lot of fun, because it's Jersey produce really starts to come through, and then summer produce really starts to come through. So the spring menu is based off of the farm we use right down the street, which is Malgeri's Farm. Last year was our first year using them, and so I didn't really know what they have. I really thought they were a much smaller place, but they have 600 acres of land that they farm from. So we just went through our first run of asparagus. Asparagus season is over for them. We were getting strawberries. Right now we're getting into zucchini, squash. They just picked their first round of tomatoes. Blueberries are in. So we're geared towards that in our menu. And then the summer menu will even be, then we have the corn. We have a little bit more versatility to go through with the summer menu than the spring, but it's exciting to be able to, pick up the phone and say, hey Karen, hey Joe, which are, the 2 farmers, and then say, hey, what do you have today?
Yeah.
Or I have zucchini came in, broccoli came in today, so then it's, myself, my sous chef Alex, or the owner actually will, we'll drive right over there, pick it up, and come right back.
You can't get much more fresh than that.
No, you can't.
And Swedesboro or Woolwich, depending upon where you want to be over here, is really nicely located. It's more than just a local restaurant. I think people come in from Philadelphia, from other places. It's easy to get to, and believe me, it's worth it, because I eat there more than once a week. All right. And the food is always good, and the freshness is always good. And now everybody that's watching this knows Dan. Okay, so they got an in, so they can go do that. And so how do you create recipes on the fly? Like, what changes based on what you can get? And by the way, you got to get chicken pot pie back on the menu, because that was outstanding. And it's seasonal though.
Yeah, it's seasonal.
Right.
It can be seasonal. It's something that it was our first go of in the fall, and it kind of just took off.
Yeah.
So it worked really well. We laid puff pastry over top of it. We built it to order. It wasn't something that was already pre-made and just done and then pop in the oven.
Right.
It takes a lot of time, and
it was worth a 35-minute wait.
There you go. It's 25 to 30 minutes, absolutely, because we have to cook it right.
Right.
We're not cooking it ahead of time and then keeping it in a warmer to hold it for you. You order it and then we're making it.
Wow.
So there's a lot of time, a lot of preparation, and a lot of I guess care and love that needs to go into dishes like that.
Well, before you go,
Yes.
you know what I'm going to say.
Yes, it's break time.
Okay, we have to go to a commercial break, but don't go away because we've got lots more interesting things to talk with Dan about, and we'll be back in a moment.
It's good.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock,
Yours, right?
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody. This is Breaking the Rules. I'm Casey Dempster, here with my co-host Ray Lowe, and we're talking with Dan Luber, who's the executive chef at the Center Square Tavern in Woolwich Township, New Jersey, and that's exit 10 right off 295. Just go left on Center Square Road and go down about a mile and a half, and you're there. And believe me, it's worth it. So I wanted to talk a little bit, Dan, about the freshness thing. And I was wondering, because I remember back when I was a kid, nobody talked about freshness in restaurants. You ordered from the menu and you got what you got. And then I think in the 70s or the 80s, all of a sudden this garden to table thing started. Do you think that chefs were trying to educate their diners, or like what sparked that, do you think?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's just the chefs, but I think people got a little bit wiser, and they also want to know what they're eating and where it's coming from, and I've learned that people want to know.
Yeah.
One of my previous jobs, we would feature where the fish came from, even down to the boat it came off of.
Wow.
And so I put on, it was day boat tuna from New Jersey.
Wow.
And I had a couple people saying, "Well, you can't get tuna in New Jersey." And I was like, "Yeah, you can. Tuna's in New Jersey." So it's people, they want to know. We want to let you know where it's coming from and how fresh it is. Because if you don't know how fresh it is, then you don't know what you're eating.
Right,
So.
right. And you also said something. It's the rule in your kitchen. Do you want to share that?
So if it, we, like I said, we roll out the menu 4 times a year. So it's tough to find out what people like, what people enjoy. So if it hits the trash, if we're prepping something and if it's not selling, if we find ourselves throwing away more than we're making or more than we're selling, it's pulled off the menu before the next menu change. So we had a coconut shrimp on the menu. It sold really well on a weekend, and then so we put it on the menu, and it kind of just died off on the menu, and we were prepping them, and then we were throwing them away. So once you start throwing away food, you're in a lose-lose situation there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and keep in mind, you don't have the big freezer, which is great for us.
Yeah, it's great for you guys, but it's a little hard on me sometimes because I don't have that
Backup.
that backup just to say, you know what, hey, it's these shrimp are almost on their last leg, so let's throw them in the freezer and we'll pull them out on a different day. I don't have that luxury, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it.
So I know you're not in charge of the bar, but they have a great bar there.
Oh,
yeah. You have comments?
Yeah, we have it's about 20 seats. There's 4 TVs at the bar. There's 16 taps that rotate very, very often. I think we're actually on Untapped now, which is it's an app that, it features, when we change a beer, if you're following us, you'll be notified what the beer is. You can go in there and you can rate beers. You can let people know that we have this beer. It's a really cool and unique app, I think, for all the IPA, the craft beer drinkers out there. So we also do a drink of the day, which is pretty fun. It's kind of taken storm. There's a different drink every single day that is featured. It's on our happy hour menu as well. And it's creative. It gives our bartenders the chance to kind of show their creative side and put out a drink. And sometimes you can see the pride in them when they're like, oh, my drink sold 45 today, and then yours only sold. It's a little bit of a competition, but it's a friendly competition.
So a quick story that adds up. We had a gentleman on our show named Carlos Ruiz, who's a mixologist, and he happens to work for the distributor that brings all your liquor into your place, and he created a couple of drinks for us on set.
That's awesome.
And one of the first places I tried them is we went into the bar. My wife and I were sitting at the bar. My wife never sits at the bar, okay? And I think we had Joe.
Yep, Joe.
Behind the bar, and he stayed late, and he crafted this concoction for us. We had everybody in the bar looking at this thing, because it started with a smoked glass, and it was great. So you guys do a great job. It's not only good, it's entertaining at the same time, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of entertaining, you've got some things that are going to happen early this fall.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to add another dimension to why go to the Center Square Tavern.
Oh, yeah. So on every Tuesday during the football season, Rob Motti from 610 ESPN Radio will be in. He'll be broadcasting from our restaurant for about 2 hours. It starts September 3rd, and it'll run throughout the entire football season. So I don't want to give away too much of what we're doing in the restaurant, but we will have some specials, maybe some giveaways. We want to fill our restaurant. We want to let people know who we are, and also kind of give back to the community and let them see what we can do.
Sure.
So there's a lot of fun and interesting things coming up, and I think that's only the beginning of it.
Right, and you have live music sometimes.
Live music. Sometimes you do 2 to 3 times a week. It's usually on a Wednesday, a Friday, and Saturday, or Wednesday through Saturday is usually the days, and one of those days might switch up. It's from 7 to 10. It's a really nice time. It's a really nice time. It's a great atmosphere. It's a fun place to work.
It sounds like it's sort of like the neighborhood place where people want to come a couple of times a week because it's like Cheers, where everybody knows your name.
Yep. Yeah. We try to get to know everybody. We have regulars that come in. And I'm a big fan of going out and talking to customers. Whether their feedback be good, bad, indifferent, I want to know because, in your next visit, I want to make sure that it's perfect.
Right.
And then every visit going there forward, I want to make sure that it's perfect.
Right.
Cool. Let's tell everybody where you are again, because you're in Woolwich. Although I really prefer Swedesboro, okay? But Woolwich. And you're at the corner of Center Square and Auburn Road.
Auburn Road, yep.
And you're tucked back into the shopping center.
Yep.
So there's plenty of parking back there.
We have a beautiful patio that doesn't, oversee a parking lot. It's kind of tucked away in the back where you're surrounded by, some nice plants, some beautiful greenery, and it's a very quiet and just relaxing time to sit out on that patio.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how do you, excuse me, I'll let you get your question in next, okay?
Maybe it's the same question.
All right, but talk about the creativity of a chef a little bit. So how do your responsibility is to get the menu together, to make it appetizing, then to make sure it's all prepared correctly, and that we leave happily ever after, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so how do you put together a menu? Where does this come from?
Just over the years, I try to pull from different areas, different restaurants. I try to see what's almost trending and then put my own spin onto it. So I just wrote out the spring menu, I'd say probably about a month ago, and I've already started working on our summer menu. So it's a 2-month preparation, because there's a lot that goes into it, more than just jotting some things down and cooking it. It's recipes, it's it's procedures, it's just because I think it's going to go well. for me, it's also how well is it going to go on a Friday night or on a Saturday night when my saute cook has 15 of them to cook at one time?
Wow.
Is it going to be too difficult to prepare, or is there any other steps that can be taken to kind of cut down his or her time cooking this dish? So there's a lot of different aspects that go into it, and it's not just like writing a few things down.
Right.
There's recipes, and then before that it's a tasting.
Right.
We bring in all the servers, the whole staff, and I do a complete tasting of the whole entire menu where they take notes. They give me their feedback, and then we adjust from there. And then the owner absolutely has a huge part of it as well. He's got a few dishes that he has on the menu that I hear about every single day. So it's like, hey, that's my dish. My dish is the #1 seller. So it's a lot of fun. But I tweaked it this time around just so I can now take credit for it. So
Now, wait a minute.
Again, that friendly competition.
Yeah, that friendly competition.
Yeah, I also hear you steal from your wife occasionally too.
I do. The chicken pot pie was actually one of my wife's recipes that I tweaked to make my own. But all the ingredients, everything that is used in there was based off of her chicken pot pie that she makes for my family and I at home. So I get to hear that. Like, I took the meatloaf from her as well. So there's a lot of it's not just about me. I do enjoy pulling from the people who I work with, the people who are around me, because I want people to be engaged. I want people to be proud of it. One of my saute cooks, Tori, she actually has one of the best-selling salads on the menu, and it's our Southwest chicken salad. So she lets me know that every time as well. So it's, if you have a good idea, I like to listen to it. We'll try, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then we can either move on or try to adjust. But for me, it's a team atmosphere.
Right.
Yes, I'm the executive chef, but I have 8 or 9 people behind me that also support me
Right.
In the kitchen and try to make sure that they're putting their best foot forward and the best food forward
Right.
For the name on the building.
Right.
So.
It's interesting when you were talking about planning out your menus and how the saute chef might have to be cooking 15 at one time. I never thought about the strategic planning that has to go into it.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's helpful as a customer to know that there's a lot going on in the kitchen other than people spitting in your food.
my favorite quote from our servers it's like, I have like 4 to 5 tables. I'm really busy. I'm like, well, we have 45 tables. We're also very busy. So it's a fun, and it makes for a very fun atmosphere when everybody gets along, and we're trying to do our best to make the food great.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me quickly, because this is where Ray cut me off.
I'm going to cut you off again.
You have a special menu feature on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about
on
that?
On Mondays, actually, we do burger night.
Okay.
It's actually burgers and beers. I believe all of our drafts and all of our beer is half off. And all of our burgers are $9. We also do a featured burger of the day, to where it kind of gives our chefs the creativity to come up with a very fun. We try to do a couple play on words with the burger name. So it's I think the one was To Dill a Mockingbird, and it was it was a fried pickle burger. So that's where we have fun with it. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays we do a dinner for 2. It's $59.99, and it comes with a bottle of wine, our pull-apart bread, a super salad, an appetizer to split, an entree each, and a dessert to split.
Now that's $59 a person?
No, it's $59 total. So
That's
you're looking
fantastic.
at $30 a person.
We'll be there.
You'll be there. Yeah,
Save
absolutely.
them for us.
It's a great deal. And where a lot of places maybe cut back on their portion sizes, I don't here. You're getting, you order the shrimp risotto, you're getting all 5 pieces of shrimp with the same amount of risotto. So we're trying to build up our clientele and let people know that we're here to stay, and we have the best food in the area.
Right, we were there last week and we had the scallop risotto, and I want to tell you folks, those scallops were huge and they were as tender as can be, and there were a lot.
It's a nice
It was
hearty
delicious.
dish. It's one of the biggest things for me is scallops. Anybody who says what's your favorite, it's the scallops.
Really?
Scallops can be cooked horribly wrong, and they can be cooked great. And my pet peeve is the scallops need to be seared. They need to have color.
Yeah.
It needs to bring out that sweetness in them. For me, if the scallop doesn't look seared, and my cooks know it, it doesn't go out. It will not go out. So I'd rather you wait a few extra minutes for it to be right than get it
Yeah.
and it's incorrect.
Yeah.
So let's summarize a couple things because you got so much in here.
Yeah.
So first of all, we're in Woolwich Township, right?
Woolwich, yes.
Better known as Swedesboro. Okay. And you're at exit 10 of 295.
Yep.
You take Center Square Road about 2 miles down, and you're there.
Yep.
And you're hidden in a little shopping center, but that's good. Monday is burger night, right? Burger and beer. So don't miss that.
No.
If you do, then we have Tuesday, and that's not as active yet, but we're going to have ESPN there soon when it counts for football season. Then if you miss that, we have Wednesday, right? The 2-for-1 deal, okay? And the rest of the time, great bar, great food.
Live music.
Ask for Dan. He'll come out of the kitchen and tell you what's
Absolutely.
really good and go from there.
And you have a website,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, it's
So what is-
centersquaretavern.com.
Centersquaretavern.com.
All spelled out, all one word. You can find all of our daily events, weekly events. It goes on there, and our menus are featured on there. And our upcoming events that we have, whether it be our food weeks that we do, where we feature a different cuisine for a week, or just who's playing music tonight or next week. So all the information is there for you.
Yeah, and I think Dan breaks a lot of rules, but it tastes good.
Yeah,
Absolutely, and we're so glad you do. Well, I guess we have to wrap up, but I'm so glad that you joined us today. I hope you all go visit Center Square Tavern because it's worth it. And we'll be back next week with another interesting show, so tune in again next week. Thank
Great.
you.
Dan, thanks.